PD Beats here from Pop Turner, speaking to Chloe Van Landschoot about season 3 of From on MGM Plus. Welcome back to the show. As always, it's good to see you again.
You too, PD.
This is like, your third time on the show. It's like a tradition. Every time a new season comes up, we chat.
Yeah.
It's crazy to look at season 1 and now episodes are rolling out of season 3 of just like how far all these characters have come. Like, what is that like, kind of reading the scripts for season 3 and then thinking in the back of your head, like, what happened in season 1? And now they're just kind of like, it's normal to a lot of them. Like, a lot of them are still trying to figure it out, but like, they really like adapted to the situation more than others. Like, what's that like reading those scripts?
Yeah, I mean, they only tell us as much as our characters know. So we are finding out all this stuff in real time too, which is interesting. I mean, it means that as actors, you can't really plan for much. You just kind of have to roll with it. And I think that's what adds kind of a bit of a naturalism and intensity to the performances, because we don't know what's going on either.
Has it changed over the 3 seasons of that kind of script to screen journey for you? Like reading a script and then actually filming it? Obviously, sometimes different seasons, like there's some winter scenes this season, but I'm just wondering is it the same thing or is it kind of different, elevated each season?
I don't know. You start to get used to it, I would say. You start to get used to the unknown, because you have to, and then you adapt to it.
Mm-hmm.
But this season was particularly special for that because we had so many schedule changes and
Yeah.
days canceled and things moved around because these like crazy snowstorms would blow through Halifax and just upend the whole day. And as you know, most of the chaos happens outside in the
Yeah.
show. So yeah, things were just kind of getting shuffled around a lot. So as an actor, you had to really be aware of what scene you were doing in what episode, because there'd be days where you'd be shooting episodes from 4 different episodes. So you
Wow.
really just like keep yourself in
Talk
check.
about
But
not in sequence.
you're just like, okay, at a certain point, you just have to like surrender and you're like, here we are. This is what we're doing. But yeah.
From is one of the best shows to go in fresh. I feel like the best thing too is like, there's trailers out there and people can see it. And like people have like seen clips of like, the only thing people have told me early on what they knew about the show, like early on was like Harold just with a bell, right? You know what I mean? And like they didn't know anything else, right? And then they went in. Are you amazed of how many elements are thrown into a show like this? I mean, we talk about the horror component all the time, but the
Yeah.
elements that just kind of, and like if you know, like when you watch season 3, like more elements have been brought in. Like, how do they pack it all in? Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, it's such a good question. I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on half the time, you know? There's so many storylines, and I don't know the people that live in John Griffin's brain. It's amazing how he's able to keep it all aligned. Because I certainly am sometimes just like, wait, where? What's going on? Wait, what? That's happening now? Wait, I gotta go back and see. Yeah, it's just a lot of that, but it's amazing. It's fun. It's endless.
So much happens before you go to camera on a season of From. Like, there's so much because there's so much kind of planning and discussions and everything. So, like, if you think about it from an acting storyteller perspective, you know what I mean? You can look at it as 2 journeys, right? Before filming a season of From and then after filming a season of From. Or do you see it as one big journey with multiple steps in between? I'm curious about that.
I think it's been one big journey since the beginning, since before season 1, you know what I mean? And it's far from over. So yeah, you just kind of have to be along for the ride. And I think as an actor, I very much learned to just, yeah, surrender over, because there's so many moving parts in a show, and there's like so much going on that's so much bigger than you and your character. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you are serving this big machine that everyone is collaborating on. And like that's definitely a huge lesson of just like there's so much happening, and you're a part of it, and it's exciting. But
It's
certainly,
also crazy because yes, it has a lot of elements, but it's always to me like a horror movie show, right? Like I always feel like the horror is always first, in my opinion. And I'm just wondering, like, because you're also, an actor, storyteller that has worked in the horror genre, and it's always been around. But like, what is it like working in that genre of like horror movies, like like sci-fi thriller, at a time where there's like a big kind of surge and like appetite for that content? Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like, what's it like? It's an exciting time for the
yeah.
genre.
I mean, it's a ton of fun. I mean, horror genres, like especially as actors, it's a genre where you can really flex your chaos inside because there's so much permission for the insanity and the chaos and the big feelings, and actors love big feelings. So it's so much fun, but it's also, yeah, tiring,
Yeah.
because you're doing a lot of real
Ah! Oh my
screaming.
God, screaming.
Yeah, a lot of like actual reality in the bells of your being that you're upchucking into existence.
Nothing
So
like
yeah,
that happens to Christy this season at all. Nothing.
no, God, no,
Like
she's
at
chilling.
like at
She's
all.
always she's
I
chilling.
remember you were getting you remember I was like last season I was like, Christy's pretty chill about everything.
She's
And
chilling.
then like you messaged me, you were like, she's not chill at all.
Like you
Because
haven't watched the rest of the episodes.
yeah, it's true. I think I was like three I was like 3 episodes and I'm like, she's pretty like calm. And I remember you in that interview. I think we took that whole part out because
Yeah.
you were like, I don't think so. Like I read the scripts. Like I know what's and then I remember like watching the episodes afterwards and being like, yeah, you're right. Well,
Rogue.
I feel like she's in a tough situation. Like, what is that like? It's interesting because Christy's one of those characters. Same with Kenny. Ricky does an amazing job. They're these characters that are kind of, I feel like, and Donna, Liz does an amazing job. Those three characters, in my opinion, there's so many characters. Never mind. There's also like Harold's character, like the leaders, right? Like the people like. I feel like you look at like Christy because she's a medic and everything, and like she's there to support everyone. You look at Kenny because he worked in the sheriff's office, and like Donna just takes care of everyone. You know what I mean? You don't mess with her. Those are three characters, in my opinion, that are like look up to a lot in the town, right? So I'm just wondering, like, is there pressure? Is it more fun than overwhelming for you playing Christy? Like, what is it like playing a character where people kind of like depend on? Like, I'm just curious about that, like from an acting storyteller perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a bit of a privilege to play a character where people look up to. And there is a bit of pressure to like, yeah, deliver something. And I mean, when I started my journey with Christy, I was coming out of nursing. I'm a nurse as
Yeah.
well. And there was a lot of parallels between the two of us and the things that we were navigating, things that I was navigating internally and the things that she was also kind of coming to terms with as well. But as characters grow and seasons grow and you grow as an actor too, you see this person that you've create start to take a life of their own, and they become they have the same heart and lungs as you, but yeah, their instincts start to shift because, well, you're different people.
Yeah.
So it's been a really cool journey to do that and to see what I've learned by playing her. She's got this quiet strength and stoicism, and she's also a lover and not a fighter, and she's soft, but there's this strength that surpasses her when she's called to duty, and I admire that so much in this character that John's written. So it reminds me a lot of the people that I worked with in the hospital, and I've taken a lot of those people I've admired into Christy. So yeah, cool.
I look back at the two interviews we did in the past, and the same kind of ideas and thoughts kind of come in that we talk about in the first kind of two seasons. Obviously, it's different. There's more to kind of unpack storyline wise, but I actually figured out a question to ask you that I did not ask you for the first two episodes, for the first two interviews. It's 3 seasons now watching the show. The fans love this show so much. The Frumily, we like to call them. It's such a phones down, dial in, oh my God, get out of there show, right? Where you're like screaming at your TV and everything. I know you try not to, but as an actor playing Christy, are you ever conscious of the audience member watching from while you make it? Or is that something that happens a little bit after you wrap? I'm just curious about that.
I've definitely learned about it. Like
Okay.
that was such a foreign concept to me, season one, because this was the first television show I've ever been on, and I've never had fans or been a part of something that had fans. So these just were thoughts that weren't in my brain. But I remember specifically, I think it was season two. I don't remember what scene it was, but I was just like, I remember being like, why is this happening? These choices seem funny. And Harold was like, this is for the audience. Like, this is for the audience so that they can yell at the TV. Like, that's what this is for. And I was like, oh. And there was like that kind of moment where I like started piecing things together, that the way stories are designed are to elicit that response from the audience too at times.
There's gonna be, because, you know, we always talk about like the weekly drop versus the binge, where like they all drop, you watch it, but from you wait every week. There's gonna be some episodes this week that, like, oh my goodness, like people having to wait for another episode. Like, it's gonna be
Yeah, the cliffhangers are cliffhanging this season for sure.
Every episode is like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, there's something big that happens after every episode, and it's like wild. I feel like you expect that now, though, right? You've been on the show for 3 seasons. I mean, it's elevated every season.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, where else is this gonna go? And just when you think they've had enough, it just gets ramped up. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it's all received.
You are also a filmmaker, and I find it interesting because it's all storytelling, whether you're behind the camera or whether you're in front of the camera, like acting. Is there something you really kind of enjoy about acting on shows like From, in terms of bringing it to your filmmaking kind of component of things, or are they completely separate specifically?
Oh no, I mean, they all feed each other, right? I think when you're an actor on a big ensemble show, like I said earlier, you're a part of this big, huge story, but your responsibility is to your character and to your arc and to your scene partners. It's very focused and specific and dialed in. But when you're filmmaking, you are a part of this much bigger global kind of thing. You're at the helm of something that, again, is bigger than the singular character that you're focusing on. You are in charge of story, right? Not just one character. So being on a big show like From, where there's lots of characters, has absolutely taught me so much about what it means to make films.
Absolutely. No, it's so great. And episodes are going to roll out in September for season 3 of From. I can't wait for people to check that out, because it's so good and it's worth the wait. Chloe, so good to see you as always. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I mean, you've been on the show 3 times now. Do I have to get you like a mug or like a cup or something?
I would love a mug.
Yes. Maybe that will be your future at one point, or like some pens. Some merch. You want the merch, basically.
I'll take some merch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Support.
Chloe Van Landschoot on Instagram is your name, right?
Yeah, at Chloe VLS. Yeah.
Okay, they can check that out. Awesome. This has been Pop Turner, youtube.com/PopTurner for previous episodes. You can catch Chloe Van Landschoot as Christy in season 3 of From on MGM Plus. Until next time, this is Chloe and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.